Hi, Matt Schaefer, and you're pink. I love it.
You know, I've been following you on LinkedIn, Matt, and all
Yes.
your pink.
It's real men wear pink.
That's right.
If there's any guys on the call and you're not wearing pink, you're missing out, and you owe me $1 a day. $1 a day. Money
Wow.
goes to, obviously, to help find a cure. So really, it's a really rough year this year from a fundraising standpoint, because you had so much time that people would have gone to events and supported, and every charity is that way. So, you know, when we can all take a deep breath and find the charity of our choice, find them, love them, support them as much as we can.
Well said.
Awesome. Matt, give us a little write-up, and Allison, I'll throw a plug in our newsletter for Real Men Wear Pink. So that that'll go out on Thursday.
I
So
like it.
send us a picture.
And I just want to say that I was that man in pink last year and the year before. So you let me know your address. I'll send you some cash out for that too. I
Love
think
it.
it's an awesome job.
Love it. Thank you.
Great. We'll put a link for you in the newsletter.
I'll toss it in the chat too.
Okay.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you. Well, I think we are all on the call now, or at least we have a majority of the people on the call. Allison will continue to watch the waiting room and let people in as they come. But good morning, everyone. I am Gina Sudam. I am the president of the Wyoming County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for joining us this morning for our webinar with Dr. Jill Murray. She is the 9th and first female president of Lackawanna College. She took that role on July 1st, 2020. So nothing like, you know, starting in the middle of a fire, right? But prior to serving as the president, Dr. Murray had been with the college as the executive vice president and chief innovation officer. From 2008 through 2012, she operated the college as the college's vice president of academic affairs, where she was responsible for developing and overseeing the college's academic curricula. So she is certainly an expert in what is happening at Lackawanna College, and we are so excited here in Tunkhannock about what is happening with Lackawanna College, and we are here to talk to Dr. Murray about that. So good morning, Jill. It's great to have you on the call this morning.
Gina, thank you so much for having me, inviting me and to the Wyoming County Chamber of Commerce. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, let's dig right in, right, with the big news that Lackawanna College is coming to Tunkhannock. And I want to know, what made you choose Tunkhannock as the first expansion under your leadership?
You know, we've been talking about Tunkhannock for quite some time, you know, expanding into Tunkhannock, and we've had a growing number of students coming either to the Scranton Center or to the Towanda Center from in and around that region. We knew that that midpoint up there is a really critical piece for higher education that's been missing. And so, you know, along with the gas industry, the natural gas industry, who's been, you know, really asking us to think about moving our center to Tunkhannock, as you know, Gina, better than anybody, you know, with your hard work with UGI and the gas industry as well. We thought that that was a perfect location, you know, not just with Tunkhannock, but with all the school districts in and around that region that are looking for higher education opportunity, both in the gas industry and in general higher education as well. So we thought it was the perfect place to begin our expansion. And I was thrilled. My sister lives in Tunkhannock, and so, and her family as well, and have nothing but great things to say about it. So, you know, as our first expansion center under the new administration, I thought that was a really wonderful place to start.
Well, we are thrilled and excited to have you. You kind of alluded to it a little bit, but when I first heard that you were coming, I thought it was going to be just the School of Petroleum and Natural Gas, but I'm hearing that you have some more course offerings for us. So what are those additional course offerings, and how many students do you expect in the fall of 2021?
Well, certainly the School of Petroleum and Natural Gas is one of our flagship programs at the college in general, and moving that to Tunkhannock we thought was certainly appropriate and really the best place. We're going to be in the Tioga West shopping plaza there, just above the Tunkhannock School District. We're going to be about 17,000 square feet, so it's a very, very large center. We'll have our standard 3 programs that we have in our School of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which is the technology program, the compression program, and the measurement and controls program. They're in demand, and I just wanted to sort of say this to everyone. I know that there are some concerns about what happens in November with regarding the gas industry. We built this program so that it's not drilling dependent. We built it so that every form of operations for the natural gas industry can be served. So that, for example, I see Brian's little girl there. Hi, Brian. So that we have our midstream operations, upstream operations, downstream, compression, as well as the standard operations. You can go into sales. There's lots of different areas in the industry and the ecosystem that can be served with this program. So it's not drilling dependent, regardless of what happens in the election. You know, the actual operations of the gas industry are expected to be there well over 20 years. And so, and hopefully beyond, with the pipelines and with different areas continuing to be built, we felt that it was a really strong expansion opportunity for us to locate the petroleum natural gas school there. We have a lot of support from the natural gas industry with regard to scholarships and endowments and helping us get equipment and lots of other things to be able to move to Tunkhannock. I think the industry is very excited for that move. But in addition to that, we've outgrown our New Milford Center for sure. I don't know if Sue's on the call. I think she might be, or I certainly, if anyone has questions about that, we can certainly address them. We've outgrown our center in New Milford, and we thought the better location for us would be in Tunkhannock. But that also allowed us to think about how we serve other areas of higher education. We have a tremendous amount of students in our dual enrollment programs in all of the school districts up there that can transfer those credits into standard degree programs. For example, we're going to have business programs there, our accounting program. Let me think. Oh, human services and professional studies, as well as other degrees as we expand and put our footprint into that center. We will be, I'm very excited to announce as well, we will be offering bachelor's degrees there as well. So it's a full service center. It provides education in the most in-demand industry in that region, which is the petroleum and natural gas industry, as well as some of the demand for the ecosystem services and jobs around that industry as well.
Wonderful. Well, we are, again, we're just excited to have you come and excited to watch you grow and to grow with you in our area. When can students begin to apply for the Tunkhannock Center?
That's a great question. We will have our center director in place right after the first of the year. We will be opening that center at least to students who want to actually physically come in to apply, but they can start applying now, lackawanna.edu/admissions. The drop-down box for the Tunkhannock Center is there and is set up, so they can begin to apply immediately.
What about students who are ready to start now? Can they start an online program now and finish at the Tunkhannock Center?
Absolutely. They can start online today. They can start online in January. They can start online. We have 6 enrollment cycles per year now at Lackawanna College, which is unlike most other colleges in the region. So we have our standard semester start in August, October, our January start, March, again in June, and again in July. So at any of those points, you can enter whether it be full-time or part-time, begin to take online classes or classes at one of our centers if you wanted to come down to Scranton or venture up to Towanda, and you can finish in Tunkhannock seamlessly without any issues.
That sounds great. It sounds like, again, it'll be a good fit for our students here and some adult learners here that want to grow their education. And I think you maybe answered this question a little bit earlier, but if you want to touch on it some more, what are your thoughts on the long-term prospects for the natural gas industry in Northeast PA?
Well, I think regardless of the outcome of the election, I think the natural gas industry has to be part of this country's future. Whether it's a long-term strategy or an interim step, I think that we need to be prepared to harvest the energy that comes from this industry. I think we're not being realistic to think that this industry is going to go away regardless of that election outcome immediately. I think that the natural gas industry serves a wonderful purpose. I think it is a step in a direction away from the standard petroleum based product that we're using currently, and it offers lots of credible, reliable energy alternatives that I think can grow into other energy alternatives. I think seeing what the natural gas industry has done will lead to different elements of alternative energy that I think will be served in and around that Tunkhannock region as well.
Sure. So as you know, across the country, employers are struggling with workforce right now, right? And how can our business community work with you on creating programs that could lead to a better workforce? Our workforce here having the skills needed to fill those job openings, those gaps.
That's the question of the year, right? That's everyone is struggling with getting a trained workforce and with getting a workforce that understands work ethic and work preparedness at every level. And I think we've done that well over the last several years. That's been part of our history, that we educate and train students not just to know the discipline of what they're doing, but to teach them about work culture, about work ethic, and about the things that are not necessarily, the nuts and bolts skills, not just the nuts and bolts skills of doing their job every day, but what it means to work in a community of peers, what it means to work in and for an organization. So I think those are part and parcel of what we do. From a business perspective, what we have done just with the natural gas industry and other industries themselves, if you have a need, please call us. My email is murrayj@lackawanna.edu. Please help us understand the needs of the employers in this region, whether it's project management needs, whether there are some technical aspects and components of training that are necessary, whether it's human services or accounting or the things that we're placing there now. What are the other things that we can do to help you? Are there certificate programs, some short-term educational opportunities and training that you need that we can provide for you? We're here to serve you. That's why we're here. We're not just here, for Lackawanna College. We're here for the community. That's what we've always done. That's who we are. And so we're built for that, and we're ready to serve the needs of your community and beyond. So whatever you need, if there's something special or something in particular that you're struggling with, or that you find that there's a need in the workforce, please let us know.
Great. And so here's another, million-dollar question right now. How has the pandemic affected higher education, and specifically for you at Lackawanna College?
That's a tough one. It has impacted higher education for sure. What we're seeing from a trend perspective is that a lot of students are scared to go away, or their families are scared to send them away. Second, I think that there's this online fatigue. I think students are, they're zoomed out literally and figuratively. And I think they don't know the future of workforce. As we all know, that has impacted us greatly, whether we're working from home or we're in the office. What's the future of accounting? What's the future of business? What's the future of human services organizations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty. I also think that from a financial perspective, families and individuals have been impacted negatively from a financial perspective because of the pandemic. Whether, unfortunately, some parents have lost their jobs or been downsized or have uncertain futures. Maybe they're in the restaurant industry, the culinary industry. Small business has been impacted dramatically. So I think students and families are intimidated by the high cost of higher education. And I know that, as you know, we're the lowest tuition and fees of any college in the region. And I think that says, at any private college in the region, and I think that says a lot. And I think our commitment, certainly next year, we're at least going to be at a tuition freeze. We're trying to look at a tuition discount. We also have allocated an extra $1 million in scholarships for next year that as we did this year, that I think is going to impact student need greatly. So I think the future of higher education is going to change and morph as it has today. For the last 6 months, people are scared. People are really intimidated and afraid and uncertain. I think there's a lot of fear. And I think what we're trying to do is get your impact, your input, and understand the impact of how this virus has affected you and the industries in which you serve and the ecosystem around the Wyoming County region. And then build programs where there is a little bit more certainty, where there are a lot more opportunities, and to give students and families that assurance that when they come out, whether it's 2 years or 4 years, or with our accelerated 3-year bachelor's options, that there's a job waiting for them at the end of that rainbow.
Very good. And, it's the best we can do right now, right? Is provide hope for our families and our communities.
I will say one more thing, Gina, if I could. There's a lot of research out there about students taking that gap year and taking a year off. And while I understand that for a lot of reasons and from a lot of families' perspectives, the impact of 1 year taking that gap year and not being able to have that degree either in 2, 3, or 4 years is significant over the lifetime of that potential student and participant in the workforce. So there is an impact for not being enrolled, at least, for a little, whether it's with us or someone else, it doesn't matter. I think what we're trying to say is higher education, everyone needs higher education on some level, some form, whether it's certificate-based, trade and vocational opportunities, or standard higher education. To not have those pathways is really going to impact people long-term. So I just wanted to say that even if it's part-time, it's important that students are enrolled somewhere doing something.
Oh, and I think you're absolutely right. I think to not have a student engaged after high school is a detriment to that student and to their long-term career prospects. So I appreciate you saying that. Given that, what do you think this spring of 2021, what do you think that will be like? What do you see as far as, we know that our coronavirus cases are on the rise here and throughout the country. And what do you think the impact of that will be for your spring 2021 semester?
That's hard to say. We spent a marathon session, Brian can attest to that, yesterday, talking about that as a leadership team and trying to keep the health and safety of our staff and our students front and center of our concern. And yet at the same time, knowing that students, as I said before, have online fatigue. They are zoomed out. They want to be back in the classroom, as do our teachers and our faculty. So we're hoping that over the next 90 days that there's some semblance of a little bit more control. I know certainly in Lackawanna County, Luzerne County, those cases are on the rise. Wyoming County doesn't seem like there's a tremendous increase in cases. So, and certainly in Bradford County, that is true as well. So we're hoping that it stabilizes a little bit. where we can get more classes. We have about 50 classes or so more scheduled to be in class this year than this spring than this fall. And we're hoping certainly by the fall of next year that that online is an option instead of the rule.
Right, right. And we all hope to be up and running by the fall of next year, right?
And our School of Petroleum and Natural Gas is in class. While they may take some of their core courses online, they are hands-on programs, so they are in person, in the classroom, every day, all day.
And that's the way our workforce needs to be right now, right? We're teaching safety in our workforce, we're wearing masks, right? And that's, again, that's our reality right now. And I think that should be the reality in higher education as well. Teach safe practices there so that when you get into the workforce, that these are the practices your employer expects.
That's a great point. We've been saying, we do, from a Scranton perspective, we did not bring the vast majority of our students back from a residential perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We kept them online, thank goodness, and we had record enrollment year this year. Virtue of living in the city as sirens. We had record enrollment this year again for the fourth year in a row. We've grown 30% over the last 4 years. So we've had some good years, but we need to get back in the classroom, and we need to be able to communicate that we've learned a lot since the summer about how to handle things, about watching other colleges and universities who have done, by the way, I think, a miraculous job through their Herculean effort to be able to bring resident students back. And for us to be able to kind of watch those best practices, at the University of Scranton, at Keystone, at Marywood, they've all done a great job with bringing students back. And, we've watched them really in awe in many ways. And so we have a lot of faith that the practices we've seen and that we've practiced here at some of our centers, because most of our centers are in person, we feel that we can scale that and bring everybody back and have an in-person presence greater certainly than we did this fall.
Very good. Jill, talk to me a little bit about your short-term goals for Lackawanna College. As the incoming president, I know, when you take a leadership role in an organization, you always kind of see, all right, these are the things that, I want to accomplish short term, and then we'll go into some of your long-term goals as well.
Well, I think short term, Tunkhannock is certainly one of those accomplishments. One of our goals short term was to set up not just the School of Petroleum and Natural Gas, but our full service center, offering lots of higher education opportunities and certificate short-term programs as well in Wyoming County. We think that's a really important missing piece for us. We've also grown other areas and other centers. Our Hazleton Center is really expanding by leaps and bounds. And so we know our centers are growing really exponentially. And so being in locations in which we can serve the community really well is a focus for us today, as it will be 10 years from now. I think the other piece is really important to note is that we value short-term programs. So we not only value certificate programs and other kind of short-term burst opportunities, but the 2-year programs that we offer are essential. They're essential for our communities. They're essential for the region and for the workforce. To be able to turn around, I'll give you an example with the School of Petroleum and Natural Gas. These students are coming out after 2 years and making at least $60,000. Some of them coming out making more than that, often with a truck and a computer. So, it's about the turnaround time from entry to workforce as much as it is about, those longer term 4-year opportunities, which has been a tradition that we've honored, for quite some time now. So I think, please know, and we're committed to not moving away from those 2-year programs. We're going to grow 2-year programs as well as we're going to grow our bachelor's opportunities and beyond.
Good. And your long-term goals, I think you kind of touched on that as well, right? That do want to grow both sides, right? Your certificates, your short-term and your long-term program.
I'm losing you a little bit there, Gina. I couldn't hear you exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, for your long-term goals as well, I think you touched on that you really do want to expand both your four-year programs, your bachelor's programs, as well as your certificate and shorter, two-year programs.
Right. And I think the long-term vision for us, for Lackawanna College, is about social and economic impact. I think with the pandemic, as we've seen it, as we know it today, we just saw, 8 million people moving since June from middle class to poverty. That 8 million people does not exclude people in the Northeast region of Pennsylvania. It includes them. And so it's our job, it's our responsibility to think about how we move people from one socioeconomic class to another. And that can't always be done without education. It has to be with targeted workforce development opportunities in programs and in industries that can provide a family sustainable wage job and a career and a pathway. And so that's really paramount for us. We know that we can't just operate to operate. We can't just offer degrees to offer degrees. That's not our purpose. That's not our mission. Our mission and our focus is to give students an opportunity that they might not otherwise have, to get them into a different socioeconomic class and status and have them have a career, a meaningful life where they can buy a home and a car and raise a family, in our region, that they don't have to leave here to do that. And so our work, our mission, and what we're passionate about is about giving people an opportunity to have a social and economic impact in our region that's meaningful to the communities in which we serve, not just to us, right? We're here to serve you guys. And so the industries, Tunkhannock is a growing region, right? Wyoming County is a growing region. It's a beautiful place in the country to live and work and be. And so we want to provide those opportunities for Wyoming County, for Bradford County, for Lackawanna County, Luzerne County, and all the communities in which we serve. And that's important to us. That's not just, something to say or a tagline. That's what's meaningful to us. And we've proven that over and over and over again in the communities that we reside in, that we can do that. And so we want to help do that exact same thing in the Wyoming County region and beyond.
Joe, we are so grateful again to have you here. I don't know what's happening with my sound, but I'm hearing that there are some issues. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of construction going on outside. My connection might be bad too. But what I wanted to say is you really summed it up there perfectly, right? That through collaboration, we can build better, stronger communities. Wyoming County has always had an incredible work ethic. And I think that as we grow our workforce and we educate our workforce, that work ethic only continues to grow, and we create a stronger, more vibrant Wyoming County. And that's really what we're all trying to do here. So Jill, I really appreciate you taking the time this morning. If there are any questions, you can certainly type them into the chat. Comments for Jill, I will try to read them. This is a very long one here. Participating in athletics. Can the students who are enrolled in Tunkhannock participate in the extracurriculars and athletics that happen at the Scranton campus?
Absolutely. In fact, I think our coaches would be thrilled to have students from each of our centers who are willing to participate in those extracurricular activities and those athletics. As you all know, we have unbelievable sports teams, and we're competing, if not for national championships, but for regional championships and national playoff every year in most of our athletics. So we would be more than happy to have students that would want to participate in those athletic programs as well. Thank you for your question.
And I think that the second part of that question is, will there be housing provided for students in the Tunkhannock area?
We will not have dorm students, dorm capabilities in Tunkhannock as of yet. That's not out of the question for us as the center grows. But I do think, and we're trying to get in touch with people who have housing opportunities and apartments and different things in that region, so that, you know, a student who may be a returning student or maybe a little bit older, or even, you know, someone out of high school who wants to live in an apartment, that we can provide at least access and information for those opportunities. So we do not have dorms yet. I'll say yet.
Great.
It's not out of the question.
And then the third kind of question here, and Sandra, thank you for these questions. They're great. Is transportation. So I think this kind of goes along with the extracurriculars and athletics, right? But would there be transportation provided to get those students kind of back and forth to the Scranton campus, say if they were taking maybe a course down there in Scranton that wasn't offered here? Would there be opportunity for that?
I think there's always a way to make arrangements for that to happen. And in particular, if there's a critical mass of students who might, you know, there's a group or a small contingent of folks who we can kind of make arrangements for those students. I think we always try to do that. We've done that, you know, in our Lake Region campus for a couple softball players, and I think we'll be able to do that here as well.
Very good. And I think the one thing I'm taking away from all of this, Jill, is that Lackawanna College wants to work with Wyoming County. They want to work with our Tunkhannock community, and you're certainly amendable, right, to the ideas we have and the things that we need here in Wyoming County. So I'm excited again to have you become a bigger part of our community and to welcome you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You know your community better than anyone. And so we're here to serve you. We're not just there, you know, to put a center there and, you know, have educational opportunities. We're here to try and make a difference in the community, not just be a part of it. So anything that we can do to help, or ideas that you want to share, or if there's any way that we can, you know, help build or rebuild or reimagine some of the industries that you would like to talk about, we're willing to do the same.
Terrific. And Greg Ellsworth, who is the Director of Technical Education at Tunkhannock, and I always get his title wrong. I give him a different title every time I talk to him. But Greg says he looks forward to working with you, and he is a strong proponent of you know, higher education, getting kids certified to work, right? So that is certainly a strong connection that you guys will have with our Tunkhannock school. And I know that Lackawanna Trail as well. I don't know if Matt's on the call, but I know he said he would certainly follow up with me and listen in to the call if I would send it to him. So we did record today's call. For those of you who may have joined us late, the recording will be published on the Wyoming County Chamber website, hopefully later today. And again, I just want to thank Dr. Murray for taking the time and discussing the new center with me. I want to thank her staff who have joined the call. I'm working with Mary Ellen Walsh right now. She's involved with our leadership program. And of course, Brian has been working with our Wyoming County community for years. So I want to say thank you to both of you for being on the call. And I know you have other staff on the call with us this morning. I certainly don't want to forget anyone. But thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to Dr. Murray. And I think this is going to be a great collaboration and partnership with Wyoming County and Lackawanna College. So thank you so much and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks to all of you. I look forward to seeing you, meeting you, and working with you.
Very good. Thank you.